Hi guys, thanks for tuning into the channel again. My name is Liz. I'm a part-time reseller here in Maryland, and today's video is a short haul video to give you a few tips and tricks out there in the field. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Please leave a comment. Maybe I can learn from you. I really appreciate you helping out the channel, and I hope you enjoy this shorter haul video. So here we have a much smaller haul because I realized that I have a lot to say. Perhaps it's not the first time I've realized that, and I'm sure my friends noticed it way before I did. But I noticed that our last haul video together went on a little longer than was ideal, I think. So I decided to just do a smaller group of items to teach you guys a couple of things to look for that you might not know about. In the foreground here, I have 6 Dr. Seuss books. Now these are the I Can Read It All by Myself beginner books, which as I recall are a little bit less valuable than the ones that don't have that emblem, but they do still have significant value. And these all had their dust jackets, which for some reason in all of my life, I have never seen a Dr. Seuss book with the dust jacket. I guess I'm sheltered or deprived, I don't know. Let me know down below if you've seen Dr. Seuss books with the dust jackets on them. Let me know in the comments, because that's actually what drew my attention even more than the fact that they were Dr. Seuss books, because the prices on these can vary really widely. So anyway, one of the things that I'll give you as a tip is when I look up books, I used to keep like notes on pieces of paper. Don't do that because you'll have to redo your research. I tend to stick a Post-it right inside the books and write down what I have found and what sites I found those prices on, because otherwise your loose leaf paper notes are going to be separated from your books. And also, even if you have a spiral bound book or a spreadsheet or something like that, it's not going to be with the book. It's just much easier. And the Post-it won't do any damage if you stick it to something like the inside of a dust jacket. I don't usually stick them to the actual paper if I can help it. Anyway, you could just stick like a scrap of paper and they don't usually fall out inside the book too. So I looked up these books and some of them are quite valuable. The Cat in the Hat Comes Back, Fox and Socks, they might be worth several hundred. Some of these others might only be worth say 20 to 35. It takes a really long time to find out exactly which edition, which printing, which year, which publisher. You know, it takes a while to figure those things out, but I think it's worth the time. In the past, I've accidentally spent too little time on my research on books. And one time I had this copy of The Little Prince, and I think I spent 2 hours researching that book. And I was confident that $75 was a great price. I think I paid $1/4 for it. And it sold within an hour of my listing it on Etsy. And then I did a little more research and realized that the one that I thought was mine was a library edition and mine was not. And it was worth more like $200. At the time, that hurt a lot. However, since I probably paid $1/4 or 50 cents for it and flipped it so quickly, now I see it doesn't matter. But who doesn't want to make an extra $100? You know, even if you only paid $1/4. So these turned out to be pretty valuable. There was another picker nearby. In fact, her yard sale was right next to this neighbor's yard sale. And I didn't pick from her because I kind of know that she knows what she's doing. And I skipped to her neighbor. And I did notice that that picker rushed right over when she saw this stack of books. She was like, oh, I need to shop her sale. So that kind of made me feel encouraged, even though, of course, I felt sympathy for her because we all make those mistakes and oversights. So that's something to look for, you know, original Dr. Seuss. So we're talking 1950s, 1960s. I don't always buy Native American pottery like this. This is sort of like what I might consider a tourist trade, but this one was really, really beautiful. I don't find the pastel ones do well for me, but these sort of more traditional Southwestern colors do. This one is signed on the bottom. I think it's C. Billy Navajo. Signed pottery is almost always worth picking up. I believe I paid $1 for that, and that's probably around $45 online. So look for signatures, take some time. There are Facebook groups you can join. They will help you identify it as long as you are pleasant grateful and provide pictures for them. And there are also things like the Marks Project online where you can just search for it yourself. But often people will recognize the signature much faster. And if you're kind with them and ask nicely, they will help you. So that's pretty awesome. I had never seen this elephant before. Now he's got sort of mid-century modern lines, you know, that modernist look, that really mod silhouette. And he's got this, it's actually not coming through in the light in here today, but he's actually a really bright orange, not 80s fluorescent. And so I did pick him up, and it took me a while. I actually think, even though he's pretty distinctive looking, I had to use, I was lucky that his label is on the bottom. I'll show it to you. Look at his legs. So he actually does say Jeru, I think that's how you would say it, underneath, and it actually has the department store sticker too. So I was able to identify him as a true mid-century piece. And to be honest, I wasn't 100% sure when I saw him that he wasn't going to be like a Target piece. You know, something that was made to look mid-century modern, but he is a true mid-century modern piece and could be worth up to a couple $100. He's probably worth about 100, I would guess, based on the research I did on him. So I guess the message there is like, trust your instinct. And if the price isn't very high, I think I paid $5 for him, you're not taking a very big risk. Even if he is a Target piece, if you have an antiques booth or you sell on eBay, you can still sell him and make your money back. And he's fragile technically, but he's ceramic. So he's not like delicate art pottery or art glass or something like that. So you can make your money back. Oh, there goes my dog. He must see the fox outside. So these three pieces over here, I'll just try to talk over him. They call this type of pottery or ceramic redware, which I always thought was so weird, right? Because it is definitely not red. You'll see this black glaze quite often. Traditional redware is a different thing. It does have that terracotta look. But this underneath is my understanding, you can see here, does have that terracotta red clay underneath. But you'll see these Japanese pieces from the mid-century era with this black and red and white glaze. And so always pick these up, especially if they're weird. Now, I've never seen the cat cookie jar before. He's not quite as valuable as I thought. I think he's worth maybe like $40. So I'm probably not going to ship him because I do free shipping. So even if I charge $50 for him, he's going to cost me $20 to ship probably, and he's fragile. And with my luck, someone in Alaska will buy him. So I might put him in my booth at a reduced price. And in my antiques booths, I try to do maybe half to 2/3 of online pricing because you are in an antique store, but I don't have to worry about shipping and breakage and all that. These guys are worth a little bit more in a way because, especially the cats, these Redware cats, people love them. I think the weirder the better when it comes to these guys. And these are made by Shafford is the name of the company, but it's a Japanese company. That's what I understand from what I researched. And the little tongue is like where you would stick your cigarette or your cigar. And I was surprised. The dog was harder to find than the cat, was a little less valuable. The cat was like 40 or 50 and the dog was more like 30 or 40. But these were in really great condition. I got them very early at a yard sale. I don't remember what I paid, but you know, there's some wear there, but maybe $1 a piece. It might have been less. The people at that yard sale were really cool and just wanted to get rid of stuff. So yeah, the Redware pieces from Japan do sell well. It does appear the cats sell better than the dogs. So at that same yard sale, there was some costume jewelry, and some people will only look for fine jewelry, and that is not something that I would recommend. Costume jewelry can be as valuable, if not more valuable, than what we would call fine jewelry or like precious metals or whatever. And so I'm not a watch expert, but I've been around watches my whole life because my dad is a watch expert. And this was a relatively unusual shape for this pendant watch. This is a small ladies' watch. Now, ladies' watches tend to not have as much value as men's watches. I guess maybe women don't wear them as much, or maybe more of them survived because the ladies were not as hard on them. But I know that from what my dad has told me. And this one has this interesting, I guess it's like an acorn watch fob. I wasn't able to find that. It does appear to be original. You can see the top of the acorn and the back of the watch match. I haven't checked this one out to see if it works. It's by Lucerno. I think that's how you would say it. And it's got to be worth about $50 or a little bit more. I didn't find this exact shape yet. And then this, I thought it was a costume ring, and these cluster rings can be super cute. They're pretty trendy. People like to wear them. And then I realized, let's see if I can do this with one hand. It's really hard to do with one hand, that it's a watch inside. And this is Paul Garnier. I actually didn't know that name, but when I looked up his watches, not this exact one, I haven't found this one yet. They could be a couple of $100s. So costume jewelry, take a look at it. If it strikes your fancy and it's like a quarter or a dollar, it's probably worth the risk. A few weeks ago, I did a haul video onto other jewelry. These copper pieces caught my eye. They caught my eye because they were, mid-century modern geometric pieces. They had that really neat silhouette. What I didn't know when I bought them, relatively inexpensively, these were actually from an estate sale, but was that they are signed by a famous artist who I am familiar with, Peggy Miller. So you're going to need a loop probably. I don't think I'm going to be able to focus on her signature. Her signature is extremely easy to read, her stamp. It clearly says Peggy Miller. And so she's like a studio jeweler and made a lot of things in the mid-century era from different metals. So a lot of people kind of snub their nose at copper jewelry because they don't think of it as a precious metal and it's just costume and it's outdated. But if it's signed by a true artist who's very collectible, then her pieces, like this larger piece, could be about $100 or maybe more. I've had pieces by her that were worth about $150. So I didn't price out all those pieces, but I thought it was worth mentioning to look at costume jewelry, to look for signatures. It might be worth a lot more than the gold that huffer and puffer picker next to you has been fighting with his friend over. So anyway, of course, I would never recommend that you pass up any precious metals since they hold their value, and the economy can be based upon those things. So yeah, I decided to do a little bit of a shorter haul for you guys, just teach you a couple of things, show you some things that surprised me that I haven't seen before. And so hopefully you guys will be able to use this in your travels. If you go to a sale and there's not a lot of stuff there, please keep looking for a few minutes if your instinct tells you to do so. Someone once said to me, you always find something. And I know I've said this before to you, but I just keep looking. So keep looking, never stop searching, and you will find things that will pay you really well for your time. If you've driven to an estate sale or you've driven to a community yard sale, it's worth that extra time to pay yourself for making that trip. So hopefully this was useful. Leave a comment down below if I need like a little adjustment in my information, or if you learned something that you think will be helpful. And hopefully you guys found some good stuff this weekend too. I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Bye.